I think I'm just gonna check social media real quick before I do what I have to do.
Did that look like you at all? Or does that look or seem or feel familiar? Well, if it does, it's okay, because you came to the right place. In today's episode, I'm going to be talking about the addiction to social media and how we can stop doom scrolling. So a couple weeks ago, I made a post saying how I took 2 weeks off of social media, and I explained how that affected my life. At first, it was a little bit difficult to stay away from it because I was in such the habit of just going on social media. Like when I would open my phone, that would be one of the first things that I would press. So a few weeks ago when I was doing this detox, I would open up my phone and I would just look at it and be like, oh, what do I do now? And I was just like annoyed that I couldn't do what I'm so used to doing, and it was just a change, and I was like, okay, this is annoying, but I stuck to it anyway because I really wanted to feel out the results and see what would happen. After a while, I started to find other things that I could do instead of just going on Instagram or TikTok as soon as I opened my phone. I actually became more productive, and I started working on other things, like I was editing a vlog, and I got that posted sooner than I thought I would. Just because I didn't spend as much time going on Instagram, I actually started to get stuff done. Because I wasn't spending so much time on social media, and you may think, well, I don't spend that much time on social media, but we don't realize is that the time adds up. With every single video that we watch, that's another like 1 or 2, 3 minutes, and if you watch 50 videos, that's a lot of minutes. A lot of people don't realize that, like, they go on their phone, they're like, I'm gonna watch 1 or 2 videos, and then it's an hour later, and, you know, maybe you watched a few more than 1 or 2 videos. Because I was also not scrolling as much, I was able to go to bed earlier because I couldn't use social media to procrastinate on it. Not to say that breaking this habit of social media to procrastinate doesn't mean that other forms of procrastination can come in, but eliminating the different forms that you can procrastinate one by one is definitely a way to reduce procrastination. So not only did I start having more time to do other things and get things done, and also like do things that I enjoy, like editing vlogs and stuff like that, this social media detox also very much so benefited my mental health. After not scrolling so much like I had at some point, I was able to focus on my life more. Instead of vicariously living through other people's lives, I was able to live my own. Instead of looking at other people doing things and comparing my life to theirs and just sitting there and just watching other people's lives, I was able to go out and actually get stuff done to make my own life. I started to get things done that I thought it would probably take forever for me to get this done because I don't have time, but that time that I didn't have was just being spent on social media. During this detox, I also started to create my own happiness, rather than getting that momentary dopamine hit that we all get from scrolling. I was not only happier, but because I wasn't constantly comparing myself to other people, my confidence also improved a lot. At some point, I kind of noticed that my attention span started to increase, and I had more of a want to watch longer like podcast episodes, and I was able to more focus on them, because thing with these like short videos that we watch is just one video after the other, usually 1 to 2 minutes long, and because they're so short, we're just so used to, our minds are so used to focusing on such short videos and then going right next to a completely different topic. And because I wasn't doing that, I was able to start focusing on longer pieces of information rather than just very short pieces. I also realized that whenever I would read, I would be more focused and in tuned in what I was reading rather than thinking, okay, when's the next page, when's the next topic. I also started to become more social with other people, and because some people think that going on social media is socializing, going on social media is not really socializing. You're not actually having conversations with people. Even if you're talking in the DMs, the way that you're going to text is going to be different than the way that it actually feels to physically talk to people. The truth is that social media was designed to keep you on it as long as possible. That's why we see video after video just by scrolling, just by our finger, and at least with Instagram, there's like a little bit of something between each one, unless you go on the reels, but on TikTok, like, there's not even like a little thing there that like divides the video. It's just video and then cut to the next video. Like, it's just so fast. And it can be 2 completely different topics that have nothing to do with each other, and your mind is just getting all of this thrown at it at one time, and it's just a lot to take on. But this keeps us on social media so much longer because it's just so easy to do it. Like I was just saying about how your mind takes on a lot more. After a long day, you may decide to treat yourself just to a relaxing evening with a little scroll. But this is not actually relaxing you because, like I had just said, all this information coming onto your mind at once is so much stimulation for it that your mind's not actually relaxing. You're actually still working even when you think you're relaxing. This is why usually if we go on for like an hour plus binge of just watching videos, we actually feel very, very tired after. I don't know if you guys have experienced this, but I definitely have, that afterwards I've gone on a longer scroll. I feel more exhausted, I feel drained, I feel like I just want to take a nap, I just want the day to be over, I'm ready to go to bed, and it may not even be later, it might just be 5 o'clock and I'm ready to go to bed. So I just explained my experience with social media. So let's get into how we can stop being on social media and how other things that I did to kind of keep myself from going on it so much. So the first thing that you can do is, this is something that I did. It didn't help the most because at some point I just kind of got used to going on the other page and clicking on it anyway. But this is definitely something that you can try because different things work for different people. So I'm still going to put that idea out there. You know how like on our phones we have that one screen that as soon as we unlock our phone, that's like the first thing that comes up. And it has most of the apps that we generally use most of the time. But if you want to see the rest of all the other apps you have to like, I know I have a Android, I have to swipe up and then it has like a list of everything. You can also search the apps. So what you can do is you can remove apps from your main home screen and you'll still be able to find them in that like back section of the apps, but it's not like, you can't just like open your phone, click on it the first thing. So what you can do is you can remove it from your main home screen so that you have to swipe up and look for it. Don't like search it, but you actually have to look for it through your apps, and that'll make it like a less automatic thing because you'll open your phone and it won't be there at first. Again, this is something I think you could kind of get used to with doing, and you could just get used to looking for it, but I think that was my problem, is that when I did this, I just got used to it. But if you do this, I would recommend trying to like wait a little bit before you actually start looking for it. Like give yourself like a 5-minute or 2-minute thing where you just sit there and you just think about it. Just like think about it before you go and look for it and be more mindful about it. I think it's very helpful and will make this hack a bit more beneficial. And the other thing you can also do is to just put away your phone. This is much more easier said than done. I don't think it's that easy to just put away your phone. But if you can get into the habit of just setting your phone aside, or maybe before you go to bed, setting it in another room, that might be very helpful. Especially, I don't know about you guys, but I find myself wanting to scroll more before I have to go to bed. And the way I have kind of figured this out, like the reasoning is probably because we may just do this because we want to procrastinate actually going to bed. But if our phone is not there before we go to bed, you know, I guess we just have to go to bed then. It's not there, right? So you can try doing that, putting your phone away, and maybe also when you're going out to a social gathering, make sure you just put your phone in your bag, in your pocket, don't touch it, leave it to the side. If you're hanging out with people, you can turn your phone over so you're less tempted to go on it if you get a notification. You can turn off your notifications. At a certain time, I have everything going on Do Not Disturb. I also don't allow any more notifications from Instagram either, so I turned all of that off. Any social media notifications, I have all of it off, because something that also, like, I know Instagram and TikTok also does is they're like, we found this video for you that we think might be interesting to you, or so-and-so commented on this. And, you know, as soon as you click on it, even if your, like, idea is not to go watch a bunch of videos, when you click on it, as soon as you open the app, you're already kind of locked in, and it's very difficult to not leave the app without scrolling at least a little bit, without looking at 1 or 2 posts, which, let's be honest, those 1 or 2 posts are going to end up being a lot of posts, right? Another thing you can do is just making it fun, make it kind of a game. You can also reward yourself, so you can set things for yourself, like, it doesn't have to be a whole month. A whole month is a long time, and I think usually when we set goals like that, like, I'm gonna do this for a whole month, those things seem very big to us, and then we're gonna want to procrastinate on it more and just not end up doing it. What's actually more productive is to set yourself a shorter goal. So it can be 2 weeks if you'd like, it doesn't have to be. It can also be 1 week, or it can just be 3 days. When I first did my thing, I started it off as just 3 days that I wouldn't go on social media. When we set these shorter things for ourselves, it tells our mind, okay, you only have to do this for this very short amount of time. It's not that long, you can do it. And afterwards we accomplish that, then we can say, okay, how how about we do another day? How about we do that? Let's see what happens if we do just one more day, please, just one more day. When you do things like that and you really push yourself, you can set these goals for yourself. And I don't know about you guys, but personally, it's not the best habit to have, but I love buying myself gifts, and I love, I have an Amazon wish list, so whenever, I have to reward myself for something, I just go on my wish list and I'm like, okay, so what do I want to buy this time? So if that is kind of your thing, if you like buying yourself things, it's definitely something you can do as well. Think, okay, I'm not going to go on social media for a week, and if I do that, I can go on my Amazon wish list and I can pick something small for myself that I can buy. I don't know, you guys, just the feeling of getting a package is so exciting. Something else you can do if you don't want to spend money, which I completely understand, and sometimes I don't want to spend money either, is you can say, okay, if I stay off social media for a week, I get to cook myself this delicious dinner, or I get to make time for myself to watch this movie I've been wanting to watch, or I get to watch this TV show, or if I finish this, I'm going to take myself out for a little picnic in the park, take myself on a solo date, just things like that. Think of ways that you can reward yourself, what makes you happy, and say, okay, if I stick to this for at least this amount of time, again, it does not have to be a month, it can be as short as you want, it can be 3 days, it can be 2 days, however, then I get to do this. And once you stick to it, you get to do that thing, and your mind is going to think, okay, I wasn't on social media and something really, really good came out of this, right? I got this reward. Another thing that we can do is, I think sometimes the reason why we just go to scrolling is because we don't think we have as much to do. I mean, usually we can have something to do, and maybe that's why we're scrolling, because we're procrastinating on doing it. But if you give yourself so much to do, and I don't want to put an immense amount of pressure on yourself, but if you do give yourself a lot more to do, you will feel like, okay, I don't have enough time to do this, right? Kind of okay, that's not a best example, but let's say that you wait a last minute to do a school assignment, okay, and it's due in an hour, and I have to submit this. So when something is due in an hour, you're gonna rush to get it done. You're just gonna want to get it done, and you're gonna hyper focus on that. You're not gonna let other things distract you. You can give yourself a bunch of stuff to do, and I'm not saying, again, you shouldn't stress yourself out, but just give yourself a bunch of other things that you have to do instead. Prioritize this. Even if it's not a big thing, if it's going grocery shopping, say, okay, I have to go grocery shopping today. I cannot wait on my phone for 30 minutes before I go. I have to go now. It has to be done right now. And really just force yourself to do other things. Book out your schedule, plan a bunch of stuff with people. It doesn't even have to be with people. You can be okay, at noon this Saturday, I'm going to go to a cafe and I'm going to just be there and journal. One of my favorite things to do personally. Just things like that. It doesn't have to be anything super big, it doesn't have to be you're meeting people or whatever, but just give yourself things to do. Or what you can do also to make sure that you get these things more done is to make a to-do list. And also, I feel it's just such a nice feeling when you have that to-do list and you get to check things off that you've done. It's so accomplishing, especially at the end of the day, to see, if not all, but majority of those things being marked off. Make it so you don't have that much time to go on social media, because you have all this other stuff to do. What do you mean you can go on social media? No, you can't. You're busy. Another thing that you can do is, this is something that I do, is you can lock out your apps for certain times. What I do with my phone, I have an Android, but I don't know about how it is on Apple, but I know on Android, so you can have different routines. So during these routines, it can do certain things to your phone. You can set it so that it automatically starts at a certain time, a certain day. You can make it so your phone is on Do Not Disturb automatically. It can also be that your background changes too. Whenever I'm about to go to bed, I have that my home screen and my lock screen background turn a deep blue, and that kind of just signifies to me okay, it's about time to go to bed. I don't know, but I just decided to do that. It also kind of just makes it fun. What you can also do is set okay, after this time, this app will lock out and you can't go on it. So now that we talked about the ways that we can stop scrolling, just in general, let's talk about the things that we can do instead. So now you may be okay, I'm not scrolling anymore, but now I have all this other time. Unless you have something else that you've been wanting to do, but you've been procrastinating, you may just be thinking okay, well, what do I do now? Now I have all this time open, I don't know what to do. Should I just go back to my phone? No, don't go back to your phone. Don't do that. I'm going to tell you what you can do instead. So one of the first things is that something that I recommend and that I love doing is listening to podcasts. This is, I think, especially helpful for, like, if you're trying not to go on social media to make a difference in your life, is now, like, let's listen to some podcasts too, you know, some more self-help things. Don't guilt yourself for all the time that you spend on social media. That's not going to help. Again, that's probably only going to make you think, okay, well, I've spent all this time anyway, there's no use in, like, doing anything else, I might as well just continue. That's why we should not be guilting yourself, because that actually does the exact opposite of what you may think it's going to do. Let's think, okay, this happened, it was meant to happen for a reason, now it's something that I can overcome, now it's something I can work on myself for. As humans, we always have something that we have to grow on, and that's okay. But now, what we can do instead is we can listen to podcasts, we can learn different ways that we can grow into ourselves, so we can learn about ourselves, different ways that we can benefit ourselves, like help our lives, make our lives to the best that we can make it. Some podcasts that I would recommend are people like, I can put them on the screen here, The Wizard Liz, Tam Kerr, or, I'm sorry, I hope I don't pronounce this wrong, but Rangan Chatterjee. They're really, really great podcasts. They really help me, and I love watching them still. And sometimes I just, like, go back and I rewatch their videos, because I feel like every time I hear something different, and it's always just something that, like, whatever I need to hear in the moment is what I do, and they just give such great advice. I highly recommend these people. There are definitely many people, many different podcasts that are really great, so you can watch these, and also, like, just looking for different ones, because there's so many good people out there who have great podcasts. Another thing you can do is reading. This is something that I've been trying to make more time for, is reading, especially like in the evenings before I go to bed, because for reading, I think that reading helps fall asleep so much, just because, like, your eyes moving across the page, I feel like, you know, just makes you kind of tired, you know, so reading is great. I also think that this is maybe just varies from person to person, but for me, I think reading and, like, just reading in general, it's just such an accomplishing feeling. It sounds kind of weird, but I feel like so many people don't read these days, and just getting in the habit, because it's not always easy to sit down and just focus on a book, right? Especially if we're used to all this stuff where we don't have to have a big attention span for. But a book is something you have to have a bit of a longer attention span for, so I think it's just so great to read a book, and I think there's so many different books you can read. You don't have to read educational ones or self-help ones, you can read fiction ones. Read whatever you want to, whatever makes you happy. It doesn't matter. People say fictional books are garbage. That's not true at all. If it makes you happy, it makes you happy, and you should read whatever you want. Another thing is working on personal projects. Like for me, when I took my detox thing, I was able to spend a lot of time editing my videos. So working on projects like that, maybe you want to learn a language, that could be a personal project of yours, and instead of scrolling, you can research about the language. Something I want to do is I'm trying to learn Spanish, so I want to buy like beginners books in Spanish that are like made for beginners, just like short stories. Another thing you can do is going through your closet. This is something helpful to do, like especially at the beginning of every single season. It's just going through your closet, sorting out what you still like, what you don't like anymore. Something else that you can do also is when you go through your closet, you maybe find some clothes that are still like wearable, but you don't want them anymore. If you haven't done it already, so you can set up like a Depop shop and you can just resell your clothes. Another thing you can also do, if you like doing your nails or painting your toes, you can do that too. That's actually what I did last night. I haven't had much time recently, but yesterday I found the time to do my nails, so I did them. You can paint your nails, you can paint your toes. If you want to, just why not treat yourself to a whole spa night? You can't go on your phone and scroll during a spa night, because that's not, we talked about that earlier, that's not relaxing. If you have a bathtub, you can run yourself a nice bath, give yourself a nice face mask, maybe rub some ice on your face. It's like very relaxing. Give yourself like an ice facial plunge, just like have like an everything spa night for yourself at home. Another thing, this may not seem as fun as some of the other things I've mentioned, but you can also work on your schoolwork, just working on your grades and taking more time to study and revise things. Because think about it, if you would spend all the time scrolling on social media, if you would replace that with studying, how amazing would your grades be right now? Like, think about that. And I know this doesn't sound as cute and as fun as the other things I mentioned, but there's definitely ways that you can romanticize studying. Try to find ways to romanticize studying. If you are able to, you can buy nice school supplies for yourself. I know everyone can do that, but if you are, that's something you can do. Trying to make your notes really pretty. I like to use multiple color pens and like color code my stuff. and that kind of just makes it more fun and also more pleasurable, I think, to look at. You can even make like a hyperlapse video of yourself studying that you can get to watch after, and that's kind of exciting because like maybe you're studying for an hour and then you have this hyperlapse like quick video that you can just watch, and it's kind of fun to watch that. Another thing is just go outside. It's like a very mom thing to say, but just going outside is so beneficial. And we spend so much time on our phones, we kind of forget what it is to be outside. You can meditate if you want to, you can do some nice yoga. I think it's nice to go like on a hot day, just go for a run. I've been wanting to run more recently, like get into that. And it's not easy, but it's definitely something that's kind of fun just to run. It doesn't have to be like, oh, I'm timing myself, have like all these devices that I'm tracking my running with. No, just go outside and run. It doesn't have to be like that. Just go outside and like you're 5 years old again and just run. So these are some things that you can do. There's of course so many more things. These are just things that I've come up with. If you have your own ideas of stuff, feel free to leave it in the comments below. I love hearing other people's ideas. That will bring us to the end of this video. I would like to say, if you're still here, I'm so proud of you. You're obviously very, very serious about your goals. Before I end this though, I do want to give you guys some things that you can do now. First thing I want you to do, if you want to delete your app, like social media apps, do that. If you do that. I can understand if you don't want to. I deleted TikTok. I didn't delete Instagram though. So if you don't want to delete Instagram or TikTok, that's okay. I understand. But first, let's set a timer for how long we can be on social media. Now, it doesn't have to be like, I'm only gonna be on there for 30 minutes. Because if you go from being on social media for 2 hours to 30 minutes, that's a big jump and you're not gonna wanna do that. So instead, set a timer, be like, okay, an hour. Maybe an hour and a half even. However much you spend, just a little bit less. It can even be like every single day you take off 30 minutes. It doesn't have to be super drastic. And start cutting back on the time and making it so that your phone closes out the apps at a certain time. Next thing to do is make a list of the stuff that you've been wanting to do or the stuff that you would like to do now that you have all this time. Just think of it already. Okay, from now on, I have so much time to do all these things. Fill up your schedule. Fill up with a bunch of stuff. Plan that spa night. I want to thank you guys again so much for watching today's episode, for being here, for listening to today's episode. I hope that everybody can take something from this, and I'm so excited for you because I know how good it feels to just let go of social media and like live your life. I know how good that feels and how accomplishing that feels. So I'm so excited for all of you guys who are really ready to do this. I know you guys are going to feel so good soon. It's not going to feel the most comfortable at first, but like I've said in another episode, you don't grow in your comfort zone. In order to grow, you cannot be comfortable. You have to be uncomfortable to grow. But once you've been through that uncomfort, what comes next is so amazing and it's just so rewarding that the uncomfort was definitely worth it. I'm so excited for you guys to start your journey. If you want to let me know how it's going, definitely do. Again, my Instagram is in the description below. I love to hear everybody's stories. So again, thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye!